Feel like lucid be my dreams. Said you said you love me, so I'm sure you know the memes. It's like I'm living all inside a movie in a dream. Sequels to my life entirely up to me. Slowly suffocating, do you notice how it feels? Baby, can you hold me while I'm running through a field like...
And the David, spelled D4VD case, just gave us the clearest look yet. Now the private messages revealed, and the David, spelled D4VD case, just gave us the clearest look yet at what was really going on between him and Celeste. Because these were not just random conversations between him and Celeste. According to LAPD detective Corey Farrell, the messages show that Celeste became pregnant when she was only 13 years old, underwent an abortion, and continued discussing that pregnancy with David for months afterward. The court heard conversations
That has to be
about pregnancy scares, contraception, keeping the relationship secret, and the intense regret Celeste later expressed over the abortion. But the messages become even more significant when you look at the prosecution's theory of the case. Prosecutors of course allege that Celeste eventually threatened to expose that relationship and the alleged abuse.
It's come to my attention that 79% of y'all are not sub to the channel, man. Make sure y'all sub up so you can say you've been here since day one, and follow the socials below.
And that David had millions of dollars.
Yo, do you remember when we first reacted to this situation and it was like, oh, there was a body found in David's car, and I was like, oh, yo, he ain't do that shit. That's probably, you know, because in the moment when everything, because we didn't know Celeste, nothing. It was just body found in musician David's car. I'm like, you know, it's LA, maybe like a homeless person might have like tried to break into the car for shelter and like did drugs in there and OD'd or something. Then they said the body was wrapped up. I'm like, oh. And then they said it was dismembered. I was like, yo, I ain't gonna lie. And then they came out with Celeste's name, and then people started saying it together. I was like, oh, he's cooked. This nigga is done. I'm gonna be honest with y'all niggas. This is a death penalty case, and I feel like with everything that goes into it, like he's fucked. So I don't even know if he's gonna take it to trial. I mean he will, because he's gonna take it to trial. But this is a situation where, like, if you do want to stay alive, you probably just take a plea deal.
His career, and potentially his freedom to lose if that information became public. Now that remains the prosecution's allegation. David has pleaded not guilty, and the defense had not yet cross-examined Detective Farrell about these messages when court ended for the day. But what we found out gave the public its clearest and most disturbing look yet at what prosecutors say what was happening between David and Celeste behind closed doors. So in this video, we're getting an actual look inside David's private messages and communication with Celeste. We're going through what they said about the pregnancy.
And his family off too, bro. His family is off too, because, bro, they were around Celeste. I don't understand in what world you would like see this dynamic, and like you would allow, like, you could tell they were like showing him, like, they're saying his mom would like pay off his credit card and shit. Like the nigga was like, it's like the nigga was like delayed, like they're fucking like babying this nigga, and he was homeschooled and shit. So you could just tell mentally he's like fucking delayed, bro. And she just only a stupid, like, childish ass nigga would think, okay, I'm gonna kill her, dismember, and I'm gonna get away with it. Only a dumbass nigga would think some shit like that, right? Like, you could tell this nigga is like, and this is not to try and like say, oh, reasoning as to why he was fucking with an underage girl, but you could tell mentally this nigga is like underdeveloped. Like, you could tell that this nigga is like a moron. So even the way he went about doing the shit he did, niggas ordering shit to his fucking house, like chainsaws and shit to his house. Only a dumb ass. That's like some shit a little kid would do. I'm gonna put a fake name. Like, I'm an alias. I'm gonna put a fake name. They'll never know. That's some like shit a little ass kid would do. And then brought her to the house, Ubered her to the house, and then this nigga Ubered her to the house, and then he's like, after she got dropped off, he's like, where are you? Hey, I'm getting worried. Where? Like, that's some shit a little kid would think would work. You get what I'm saying?
The abortion, the secrecy surrounding their relationship, and the messages prosecutors believe may help explain a possible motive for her death. According to LAPD testimony, the conversations between David and Celeste indicated that Celeste became pregnant when she was just 13 years old, identified David as the father, and later discussed an abortion with him. The court also heard descriptions of child sexual abuse material investigators allegedly recovered from David's phone. But more specifically, prosecutors presented a series of text messages.
Like, you see, what dumb ass nigga will be doing some weird ass shit like that and be having that shit on their phone and then be doing streams with it? Like, this nigga is a moron. Like, he's slow. He has to be delayed. And this nigga's a sick nigga, bro. This is a death penalty case,
just between David and Celeste, discussing an abortion she said she had in January 2024. At the time, Celeste was only 13 years old, while David was 18, and would turn 19 in March of that year. The explicit messages were recovered from an iPhone seized during a search.
Like, y'all niggas need to, like, visualize this. Some of y'all niggas might be younger. So visualize it like this. This nigga is 18. So any nigga who is 18, imagine 18 and you're dating a girl who's 8th grade. Like 13, bro, that's elementary. She has recess and lunchtime still. Like you have to be up. If you're a little nigga, you're say you're like 10th grade. Imagine dating a girl in 5th grade. Like you have to be you have to be out off your rocker, nigga. You have to be.
Of David's Los Angeles home, while the text message conversations were obtained from his iCloud account.
I'm sorry to keep going on tangent. Do you think PDF shit is like they can't control it? Like they're mentally just wired like that? I don't know, bro. It just throws me off because it's like my brain can't comprehend that shit. I can't. Like, I don't know, bro.
Investigators described finding a large connection of CSAM material allegedly involving Celeste, and prosecutors believe this evidence may help explain the motive behind the killing. They allege that Celeste had threatened to expose the relationship and the alleged abuse, and that David killed her on April 23, 2025. Before that information could become public, prosecutors further claimed that he later dismembered her body with a chainsaw inside the garage of his home. David, whose legal name is David Anthony Burke, has denied the allegations and pleaded not guilty. Detective Corey Farrell then laid everything out for the court. Farrell, the prosecution's final witness at the preliminary hearing, read the messages out loud and described more than 3 dozen explicit images that he said documented David's alleged essay of Celeste when she was just 13 and 14 years old. Prosecutors said the images showed the actual acts taking place inside David's home, but they were considered too graphic to display publicly in court, which says a lot. Farrell also testified that one screenshot recovered from David's phone showed that his lock screen at one point was a photograph of him and Celeste embracing while both were naked from the waist up. Other photographs shown in court.
You see what type of like he's a dumb ass. Mind you, he knew the police were investigating him. You see what I'm saying? And there was a screenshot of his lock screen, so that means that this dumbass nigga, you know, sometimes you'll probably like accidentally screenshot your shit. He probably screenshotted his shit by accident, like on some dumb nigga shit. Remember I started about the PDF shit? I'm starting to think that, okay, you know how there'll be older niggas who will be like 27 and they'll date like a girl who's like 19? I think that those niggas know that they have like a edge over those shorties mentally, you know? So they know how to like maybe manipulate them in a better way and like control them type shit. Like I feel like that's what that shit is. Those, say a 27-year-old nigga dates a 19-year-old, he knows that he has like, she'll be easier to like control and manipulate. I feel like with a nigga like this, I feel like with PDF niggas, some of these niggas, like with a nigga like this, right? Because you have other, like EDP to me is like a nigga who just like thirsty for children, like genuinely thirsty for children, like on some weird shit. This nigga to me, he's attracted to kids because he's so fucking delayed in his fucking head that those is the only type of girls that he knows that he would be able to have that control and be able to manipulate. You know what I mean? Because like a girl his age, she not going for all this goofy shit this nigga doing. You know what I mean? Like she wouldn't ever be like, this nigga wouldn't be able to even control her, even despite the fact he's a rich nigga, despite the fact he has money and fame. And you could even see, like, even Celeste in the text message, she was bitching this nigga. She was trolling this nigga. This nigga was getting bitched by like a child, nigga. Like he's a fucking loser, bro. So I think that's what the attraction was for this nigga, was that ability to be able to like control someone.
Also revealed that Celeste had David tattooed in red ink on one of her fingers, and that detail is especially disturbing because it was one of the fingers later found amputated from her body. And during Farrell's description of one image that allegedly showed David penetrating Celeste, her mother, Mercedes Martinez, began crying in the courtroom. Deputy District Attorney Beth Silverman, one of the prosecutors in the case, walked over to comfort her and told her, "I really think this is stuff you don't need to hear. I just think it's too much." Celeste's mother, Mercedes, then stood up and left the courtroom in tears, with Celeste's father, Jesus Rivas, walking out alongside her. Now, the messages prosecutors presented stretched from November 2023 all the way to April 2025, and throughout those conversations, Celeste repeatedly told David that she was afraid she might be pregnant. The earliest messages shown in court came from late November 2023, right around the same period prosecutors alleged the actual relationship between them first began. Celeste wrote that she was basically praying for her period to come because she refused to have children. David allegedly responded by asking whether she had missed the date she was expecting it. He then urged her to begin tracking her menstrual cycle through an app, writing, "I just need to make sure you're on top of your shit." Now, at this point, Celeste was only 13 years old.
See what I'm
the
saying?
two of them were allegedly
that control, like, you know, like, I'm telling y'all niggas, bro.
Discussing missed periods, pregnancy scares, and closely monitoring when her cycle was supposed to begin. And then the situation expanded beyond just David and Celeste. According to Detective Farrell, Celeste underwent an abortion in early January 2024. In the days leading up to the abortion, she allegedly texted David that neither of them were capable of taking care of a child. David allegedly...
See, I'm sorry to keep pausing, but again, another aspect to it. He could get her to get rid of the kid. It's this thing of power that this nigga knows that he will have over a girl that's younger than him. A girl who is like older, she knows this nigga's rich and has a bag. She's not getting rid of that kid. She gonna be locked in with that child support bread for life. That nigga is like, he loves the idea of being able to control, like, but he's so fucking delayed. He's so dumb that he only feels like he can have that control over somebody who's like a child, nigga. Because mentally, this nigga is fucking like delayed as a child, nigga. So that's the only type of people he would have that control over. That's why he was attracted to this girl. Because he was a homeschooled nigga. He went to school. People didn't fuck with him. People didn't fuck with him in school. He didn't have shorty fucking with him in school. And then he ended up being homeschooled. So the nigga is literally like a fucking delayed ass nigga. Again, niggas are gonna twist my arm and be like, oh, so I'm not saying that means he could go fuck with. No. I'm just saying the nigga's fucking retarded, bro.
Responded by telling her, "You are so much stronger than me, baby," before adding, "I love you." He then mentioned advice he said he had received from his mother. David allegedly explained that his mother had advised him to question paternity. In other words, to make sure the baby was actually his, if he ever found himself in a situation like this.
Now, what I will say about this, his family for sure knew about this shit. But with this specific text where he was like, oh, my mom told me to ask. He's just a bitch ass nigga. I'm telling you, I don't think his mom was like, oh, Celeste is pregnant, go ask her if it's yours. I don't think that when he said that, that's what he meant. I think he's saying, oh yeah, my mom told me whenever something like this happens, just to ask. You know what I mean? Really? He's just a bitch nigga, and he was curious and wanted to know. So he asked her that. Like I said, he's so stupid, he's not even understanding the fact that what is the likelihood that this child is going in, you know, like, he
then asked Celeste directly, "It is mine, right?" ? Celeste replied, "Of course it's yours, David." Farrell then read messages about a plan the two had created just 1 month after the abortion, and that plan was called Operation Awesome.
See what
According
I'm saying?
to the text,
Operation Awesome. This nigga is delayed. He's a fucking idiot, bro. Death penalty, nigga.
The plan was for Celeste to leave home and move in with David. When she said she did not know what to bring, he allegedly replied, "We've been over this for weeks," before telling her to pack anything she used that he could not immediately replace: her clothes, makeup, jewelry, and shoes. He said he would bring her 2 duffel bags, and later texted that he was coming to pick her up in Lake Elsinore, where she was from. Then on February 13, David allegedly asked whether he should hide somewhere near her house and have his bodyguard bring her out to his car. Celeste responded, "Oh my god, no. That's so embarrassing, dude." So this was not just a vague conversation about living together someday. According to the messages, they had allegedly spent weeks planning exactly how she would leave home, what she would pack, and how David would get her into his car.
And this is another thing where I would say that her family wasn't complicit. Like when they're saying, "Oh her family signed off," that shit could have been forged, or from my understanding, her parents they can't really speak English. Like they have a translator with them in court. So to me, I think this nigga, they could have easily just went, "Oh, this is for school field trip or some bullshit," and got them to sign off. They don't know what the fuck they're reading. I don't think they knew. If they knew, why the fuck would he need to do this? He just pull up there. Here's 10 bands.
Without drawing attention, David allegedly replied,
So I don't think
"Baby, this is the most important day of your life, next to your wedding day, and you're worried."
I think they were aware that she was running away to be with this nigga who was grown, or like she was running away to be with some nigga. But I don't know if they were aware of his age. I don't know if they're aware of like the dynamic. I don't think they're
about being embarrassed. So David was, in other words, describing Celeste leaving her home
like
as
even her mom crying and shit after hearing that, you know,
the most important days of her life, second only to their future wedding. 2 days later, Celeste was reported missing. 14 months later, she was dead. And according to Detective Farrell, their communication went back even further than the pregnancy. He testified that David had been messaging Celeste as far back as 2022, when she would have been only 11 years old. The messages prosecutors presented were often, as he actually explicit, and at times controlling. Now, as far as the messages that Celeste was sending, Celeste's messages could be affectionate, but they also showed moments where she appeared,
there's no way this is a real picture, gang. This has to be AI, bro.
Distressed and emotionally overwhelmed. Then on June 11, 2024, David allegedly wrote that he could not wait for them to move in together without the cops bitching. He told Celeste he would take her out every day, and she replied that she missed him deeply. But only a few hours later, the conversation took an even darker turn. David allegedly told her that he wanted to gather her personal documents so they could leave the country and get married in Italy. So this was no longer just talk about seeing each other in secret. According to the messages, he was allegedly discussing a future where Celeste would leave her life behind, move in with him, leave the country, and eventually get married in Italy. Soon after that,
Celeste, I can't fathom the thought process.
Celeste became afraid that she...
Like, I'm sorry, like, is it fucked up that I kind of want to, like, after this nigga gets sentenced to, like, life and shit, right? Or, like, death. I want to hear, you know how they sat down with Jeffrey Dahmer? This is a nigga that I want to, like, understand this nigga's mindset in this situation. Genuinely. Like, genuinely, I need to understand, like, because nothing made, like, even he left the body, just left the body in the car, like it's just, none of it makes sense to me, bro.
Might be pregnant again. She wrote, I don't like...
And it's not even to the part where, oh, this nigga's an, like, yeah, I'm saying he's a dumbass, he's a moron, but it even goes deeper than that. It's like, even a dumbass person wouldn't do this, like, a lot of the shit that this nigga did. That's why I want to hear the nigga, like, I don't know, bro.
This. Before asking David, what if the first abortion didn't work? David allegedly brushed off the concern, telling her that she would already have a baby bump, and pointing out that she had experienced multiple periods since then. He then wrote,
see, like, she doesn't even understand that, you know what I mean? Like, and this, yo.
Nah.
She don't understand. She, like, saying, what if the abortion didn't work? She don't even understand how, like, yo.
Be gone. Celeste's messages indicated that she was anxious, that the abortion might have not worked, and David's alleged response was dismissive instead of taking her fear seriously. What I'm saying?
That's something only a child would think. Like, oh, the abortion didn't work, and it's been months. Like, it's not.
He mocked the possibility, treated her concern as unreasonable, and then reduced the pregnancy to the cold statement, "Nah, first baby gone." The entire response shifted attention away from what Celeste was feeling and treated a deeply serious situation as if her anxiety was ridiculous. Then on June 19, Celeste allegedly told David that she would come see him and sleep over, but she added one clear condition: just do not get me pregnant. David allegedly replied that they had done a good job avoiding another pregnancy and claimed the first and only time it happened was because of a damaged condom in December. Now, around that same time, another message revealed that David's mother knew him and Celeste were having sex. When Celeste asked whether his mother knew, David allegedly replied that she believed sex was probably the first thing they would do when they saw each other. And that detail matters because it suggests their sexual relationship was not completely hidden from the people around him, at least according to...
Again. So do you think, just as a side note, do you think that niggas knew Celeste was underage around him? Obviously he did, right? I know niggas gonna be like, oh, well, she was 14 and shit. Do you think they knew though? And before niggas get, oh, let me break it down. Niggas get, oh, she was 14. Obviously they knew. I mean, like, do you think they actually, like, knew for a fact that this girl was, like, underage? Because I remember there was another situation that came out where a tattoo artist who had I think did a tattoo for David and Celeste. She said she went to the crib to do a tattoo, and she was like, oh, this girl looks underage, like, I'm not gonna give her a tattoo. And then he showed her a piece of ID that showed that, like, Celeste was 18. So do you think, like, because I for sure believe his friends and shit, if they were around Celeste, I refuse to believe that they were just knew this nigga was just fucking with a 14-year-old. And I know niggas were like, oh, well, he has money, he's complicit. I 100% believe that even in that situation, you're aware that if he gets caught, you're fucked as well. So I feel like a lot of them would be like, whoa. You know what I mean? I think, like, I genuinely believe that this nigga was giving niggas fake IDs. I don't know, though. At least for his friends, I think for sure, like, people are going to get on their ass and hate them and be like, yo, you're around. I will 100% believe that those nigga, that nigga was showing them fake ID of Celeste. And showing them, like, with the police, he showed a grad picture. I for sure believe this nigga was showing that grad picture and then showing a fake ID. And then in your mind, say that's your homie, right? Like, I'm not trying to get off topic, but say that's your homie. You could see your homie with a girl and she could be young. There's some shorties that look young, right? Say you see your homie with a girl. This nigga's rich as fuck. He's lit, right? You see this girl, maybe you do question like, yo, how old is this shorty, right? And the nigga shows you a picture and like, yo, she graduated, and shows you a fake ID. I don't think any person would sit there and be like, yo, this is cap. She's a child. I don't know though. I don't know. Because maybe if you seen her in person, you could tell. I don't know.
David's own message, his mother understood that him and Celeste were having sex, and Celeste was still.
Pictures is different, but actually seeing her in person and seeing her picture, like seeing a picture of her is different, is one thing, but like, because some niggas might be, oh, they wouldn't be able to tell off of a picture, right? And if they showed a fake ID. But if it came down to like a fucking, like her mannerisms and the shit she says and the way she acts, maybe then you'd be like, no, she's for sure underage, you know?
Only 13 years old at the time, but a little more than a week later, another message showed an even more disturbing side of their dynamic. On June 27, Celeste told him that after they last had sex, she had to run to the bathroom because she was in pain. Instead of showing concern, David allegedly argued with her about whether it had actually hurt. He replied, "No," then claimed he remembered every time she had said "ow" during sex, and insisted that she had not said it once the last time. And
you see what I'm saying? Like, he thinks like a child. Like, bro, this nigga is mentally, like...
This exchange shows the kind of control prosecutors say David had over Celeste. Rather than listening to Celeste describe what happened to her own body, he allegedly dismissed her pain and tried to tell her that her own memory of the experience was wrong. Then on July 10, Celeste asked him directly, "Does anyone know we even had sex?" David allegedly replied, "Nope, and I would like to keep it that way before we married." He then added,
See what I'm saying? So I'm thinking the nigga was either telling them like cap shit, like, oh, this is his age, this is her age, or he's playing it like, yo, this is like my niece, or like some bullshit, something around people he was around. And then, cause even him saying nobody knows, like, you know,
that they should get married the following
it's like
year.
He knew what he was doing was crazy. He was hiding it. Now, when it comes to his mom, I think that he could have either lied to his mom about her age. I don't know though, because regardless, the family and his management and shit for sure tried to help him after, because he's a breadwinner. So after he got caught up in the jam, they're trying to help him out the situation. You know what I mean? Move assets and move funds and shit, because they knew, you know. In the moment when it was happening, I don't know.
And make the baby simple. So even while they were discussing marriage and having a child in the future, he was allegedly making it clear that their SEXual relationship needed to remain secret. But by August 30 of that year, Celeste's messages had taken a much darker turn. She began sending David a series of emotional messages about the abortion, writing, "Realistically, I care about you. I killed my kid for you," Celeste wrote. In another message presented in court, Celeste described what happened as taking an innocent life of a little baby. So by this point, her messages indicate that the abortion was still weighing heavily on Celeste. She was not simply questioning the decision, she was expressing intense guilt over it. And for someone so young, she was remarkably clear about what she was feeling. She understood that this was something she might carry with her for the rest.
Like, she had a better understanding of shit than this nigga did. Like, that's what I'm trying, like, yo. This nigga's he needs to go.
Rest of her life, and she was able to put that into words. Celeste told David that she would have been there for the child had they continued with the pregnancy, but instead of acknowledging the regret she was expressing, David allegedly told her that keeping the baby would have been selfish. The exchange shows them.
I don't think that, okay, this might be fucked up. I think the death penalty isn't enough. I think that, like, bro, y'all have to understand, bro. Hold on. Give me 2 seconds. Timestamp. Bro, I think David needs the death penalty. One thing about the death penalty though, I feel like the death penalty is like so whack. Like, I think, bro, it sounds crazy, but I believe that people who do crazy crimes like this should be tortured again. And I know people are like, yo, da 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 da, right? But listen to me. Do you know how peaceful the death penalty is? Like, the average human being, you probably will not die as peaceful of a death as these motherfuckers who are doing crazy ass shit. You know what I mean? Think of day-to-day life. You do some crazy ass shit, you get the death penalty. You go sit in a cell for probably 15 years, 20 years on death row, and then get the death penalty. They put a little needle in your arm and you slowly drift away and die. Right? Now think about how the average human dies, right? How many people are gonna go crash in a car, get in a car accident and die? How many people are gonna get shot and die? How many people are gonna fucking have a crazy disease like cancer and die, AIDS and die, or like collapse, fall down the stairs, break their neck or some shit and slowly and die? You know what I mean? Or old age and their body just slowly breaks down and they die. Why do people who commit crazy crimes get a more peaceful death than the average person? To me, it's really a reward to them. I think there should be torture. I feel like if people are on death row, they should be tortured. And the thing is, if they do it, we wouldn't know. Because if they did torture these motherfuckers, you could never tell the public, because any nigga who does a crime, they would just kill them. They would just delete themselves. Any nigga who does a crime, they would delete themselves if they knew they were gonna get put in some torture shit. So if I was them, I would be torturing these niggas on death row. I ain't gonna lie, I'd be torturing them, and I just wouldn't say none. So all of them who get on death row for doing some crazy shit like this, they just get tortured, you know? And like, just bet, don't say it to the public, because if everyone knew it, if you went and did a crime and you knew you were gonna get the death penalty, you probably just delete yourself before dealing with that, you know? So I hope they do that shit behind the scenes, bro. I'm gonna be real. And I know people are saying, remember the CIA agent, John Kiriakou? Doing that stuff to people for information, torturing people for information is wrong, because it doesn't work, right? But I feel like people who do bad shit like this should be tortured, yeah.
Responding very differently to what happened. Celeste was expressing grave guilt and the feeling that she had given something up for him, while David allegedly defended the decision and framed the alternative as selfish. Celeste then wrote, "David, I'm gonna have to lie to people around me, even my kid, for the rest of my life." Celeste told David that she avoided talking about the abortion because it made her extremely upset, adding, "I'd do anything to have it back." And David's alleged response to Celeste was extremely cold. He wrote, "Let's end that here," before adding, "I don't like talking to you when you're upset." When Celeste then asked how he personally felt about the abortion,
like, this is shit that like grown women, this shit will fuck with them. Like, I don't know how many if you ever talked to a shorty who had to go get an abortion. That's why I don't know why people be trying to make it seem like there are probably some shorties who get an abortion and they're jumping like, yeah. But for the most part, most shorties that get abortion, it's like traumatic for them. You know what I mean? So this is a child, nigga, that is like going through this, and this nigga's not even
He said he was saddened by it, but explained that what upset him even more was the way
the child had the audacity to kill her and child
had been conceived outside of marriage and outside of how he had imagined having his first child. Then he ended it by saying, "But I don't dwell on it." And that contrast is hard.
I can't have a kid outside of marriage. That's where he draw the line. But he not fucking a kid, right? Like, this nigga is like, see what I'm saying? I hope after he gets sentenced, they have like a sit down interview with this nigga, and they just understand this nigga's mind, bro. Because I can't wrap my head around it in any way. Like, I can't.
Ignore. Celeste was describing something that continued to weigh on her deeply. Something she said she would do anything to reverse, while David allegedly made it clear that he did not want to sit with her emotions and had already decided not to dwell on what happened. By November 2024, the situation between Celeste and David appeared to be repeatedly breaking down. In one exchange, Celeste reminded David that she had been having sex with him for almost an entire year. David allegedly responded by telling her that she was acting as though this was their first breakup, when according to him, it was already their 8th. So this was not one clean ending. Based on the messages, the situation was already breaking apart. At different points, they were reconnecting, and that same disturbing dynamic was continuing. In an exchange dated back December 20, 2024, David and Celeste gave conflicting accounts of what had happened between them. On December 20, David wrote, "You asked me if I wanted to have sex, and I folded." He then claimed that they stopped. Celeste began crying, and he held her afterward. But Celeste immediately pushed back on that version of events. She replied, "No, I didn't, David," and said they had only made out before she was going to leave. So even there, the two of them were giving completely different accounts of what had just happened. David allegedly framed Celeste as the one who initiated the encounter, while also casting himself as the caring person who held her afterward. But Celeste directly rejected that version, exposing how differently he was trying to present the situation.
That's what I'm saying. He wanted that power dynamic over a child, and he still wasn't even able to gaslight her because he's an idiot, bro.
How she said it actually happened. Then the messages moved even closer to the date prosecutors say Celeste was killed. Farrell testified that they remained in contact and that the alleged sexual abuse was still ongoing approximately 1 month before prosecutors say Celeste was killed. But by March 14, 2025, only 1 month before Celeste was murdered, Celeste appeared to be trying to create distance. She texted David, "We can be friends, but like online, I don't want anything to do with you in person anymore if I'm gonna try to move on." That message is significant because Celeste was no longer simply expressing frustration. She was clearly trying to establish a boundary and end the in-person part of their relationship. Detective Farrell also revealed another detail that prosecutors say later became important to the investigation. In a December 2023 message, David allegedly told Celeste that he used the name Travion Davis for all of his packages and everything.
Like,
that alias would later become
nigga.
significant because prosecutors say purchases.
He used it to bring shit. I already know. I'm telling you, like, what is the he has to be like delayed.
Connected to the alleged dismemberment of Celeste's body were made under the same name. Another detective testified that David used the alias Travion Davis to order 2 chainsaws from Amazon on May 1st, 2025. Then 3 days later, investigators say he purchased a 3rd chainsaw from Home Depot and had it delivered through Uber Postmates. That 3rd saw was described as a 10-inch Makita, and unlike the other 2, it was never recovered. And those were the main messages revealed during day 4. Now there were more.
If the other 2 were recovered, that means he ain't used them bitches, because the other 2, they would have had like shit on it and he would just be fucked. They didn't have. So the one that he used the shit on to do it is gone.
More conversations presented in court, but I wanted to focus on the exchanges that mattered most: the pregnancy, the abortion, the secrecy, the way their relationship was changing, and the repeated moments where David appeared to dismiss, pressure, or manipulate Celeste. These are also the messages prosecutors believe may help explain a possible motive. David has pleaded not guilty, and the defense have not yet cross-examined the detective who testified about all this. But based on what we found out, these messages gave us the clearest look yet at what prosecutors say was happening between David and Celeste behind closed doors. What really stood out to me was Celeste's emotional intelligence and the way she communicated. Even at her age, she was able to clearly express fear, guilt, regret, and exactly how these experiences were affecting her. And through these messages, she also exposed a much bigger reality: how manipulation, gaslighting, secrecy can shape what happens behind closed doors. This is what stayed with me the most, and that's where I'm going to leave this video. Rest in peace to Celeste Rivas Hernandez.
Rest in peace, bro.
Justice will be served.
What did I put? Fuck. This nigga is fucking like, bro. Death row. He is gonna end up. California, if you do not give this nigga death for this crime, just abolish the death penalty. If this isn't a crime that constitutes the death penalty, abolish it. There's no point even having it being a charge. What do you have to do at that point to receive the death penalty? We're gonna leave it at that, bro.
Something, baby, I like just how you blushing. And maybe we could bust it at the function. Turn nothing to something. Wish you could just see the horrors of my life, my upbringing.